In this video, we will show you the 3 ways to attach PVC.
Place membrane panel starting at the low slope side of the roof and unroll over the acceptable substrate. Allow the panel to relax for 30 minutes before attaching or splicing. Install so that the seams shed or run parallel to the flow of water wherever possible. When placing additional rolls of membrane, overlap the sides of the adjoining sheets by 3.5 inches as marked on the top side of the membrane and overlap the ends of the adjoining sheets a minimum of 3 inches. For sufficient membrane overlap distance, see standard lap splice details for robotic and hand welding. Fold it back evenly onto itself without wrinkles to expose the underside bonding surface of the sheet and substrate. Sweep the matting surfaces with a stiff broom to remove any debris or dirt that may have accumulated. Apply bonding adhesive. Stop short of membrane seam area. Do not apply bonding adhesive over an area that will later be hot air welded to another sheet or flashing. All bonding adhesives must be completely removed from the seam area. Apply bonding adhesive with either a 9-inch wide solvent-resistant paint roller nap or a commercial-grade adhesive sprayer. Adhesive must be applied in a relatively uniform thickness to both surfaces at approximately the same time. Apply adhesive in a 1- or 2-sided application, applying bonding adhesive at specified coverage rate. Touch the adhesive surface in several places with a clean, dry finger to be certain that the adhesive does not stick or string. As you are touching the adhesive, push forward on the adhesive at an angle to ensure that the adhesive is ready. If motion exposes wet or string adhesive when the finger is lifted, the adhesive is not ready for mating. Flash-off time will vary depending on ambient conditions of temperature, wind, and humidity. Starting at the fold, roll the previously coated portion of the membrane into the coated substrate slowly and evenly to prevent wrinkles. To ensure proper contact, compress the bonded half of the membrane to the substrate with a stiff push broom. Then roll thoroughly using a 75-pound to 150-pound roller. If the membrane seam area has been open for more than 12 hours or becomes contaminated with dirt, debris, or moisture, wash mating surfaces with MEK or acetone and allow to dry completely. Complete the laps with hot air welds as specified in the TIS sheets. Once weld areas have cooled, probe all welded seams to ensure proper welds have been achieved. Mechanically attached roofing systems are installed starting at the low slope of the roof using up to 4 half sheets. This is determined by project requirements. Place membrane panel by unrolling over the acceptable substrate and allow the panel to relax for a minimum of 30 minutes before attaching or splicing. Ensure proper sheet overlap allowances for roof edge details and flashing seams. Place additional rolls of membrane by overlapping the sides of adjoining sheets 6 inches as marked on the top side of the membrane and overlapping the ends of adjoining sheets a minimum of 3 inches. For a mechanically attached system, the inside edge of the half sheet lap is fastened to the deck using approved Elevate PVC seam plates and fasteners, as required by specifications. Position each fastener 2 inches inside the membrane edge and 1 inch from the area to be heat welded per lap splice details. Install each fastener so it is properly engaged in the deck and the head is flush with the countersunk portion of the seam plate. If the membrane seam area has been open for more than 12 hours or becomes contaminated with dirt, debris, or moisture, wash mating surfaces with MEK or acetone and allow to dry completely. Position next sheet to properly lap over the plates. Once the overlapping sheet is placed, weld the seam area. Ensure all end laps are also attached and welded as required. Once welded areas have cooled, probe all welded seams to ensure proper welds have been achieved. The insulation or cover board must be secured using the appropriate amount of Elevate InvisiWeld plates and fasteners. Place membrane panels starting at the low side of the roof and unroll over the acceptable substrate. Allow the panel to relax for 30 minutes before attaching or welding. Overlap the sides of the adjoining sheets by 3.5 inches as marked on the top side of the membrane and overlap the ends of adjoining sheets a minimum of 3 inches. Perform the tool calibration with the induction welding machine. Be sure to calibrate as project conditions change. Activate the weld between the Elevate PVC membrane and the PVC InvisiWeld plate using the electromagnetic induction device as supplied by others. The induction coil, marked by a red circle on the tool, must be positioned over the center of the InvisiWeld plate plus or minus 1 inch. Make a PVC template of the base of the welding tool. Cutting out a plate-sized hole in the center is helpful to ensure accuracy of the welder placement. Place hole over plate and make 2 pencil marks on perpendicular edges of the outer edge of the template to properly position base of welder. When the induction welding cycle is complete, immediately place a magnetic cooling clamp over the welded PVC membrane and PVC plate assembly. This will ensure that there is adequate compression of the membrane to the plate during cooling, affecting a proper weld. The magnetic cooling clamp device must be left in place for at least 60 seconds while the weld cools and sets. The bottom of the induction welder and the magnetic clamps must be frequently wiped clean of debris to prevent scarring of the PVC membrane. Repeat for all InvisiWeld plates by progressing across the roof in a uniform manner. Weld all laps as required and ensure all end laps are also welded as required. To ensure a proper weld, always probe the welded material seams after it is cooled. Never probe while the membrane is hot. For more information and helpful tips, please visit our website,